Hey guys, just following up on my last video, I got a new toy in today. I'll show it to you guys in a second. It's the SS Brewtech 7-gallon Chronicle Brewmasters Edition. And back there you can see the glycol chiller. Before I got this, I did a lot of research on it. And I noticed there's not a whole lot of videos about this. I didn't do an unboxing video because there's too many of those out there. So I'm just going to do a video, go run through it. We're going to do a water test batch, and then we'll see how it goes. So if you guys have any questions about this at all, let me know, and I'll post a follow-up video. So here is the Chronicle. You can see here we have the butterfly valves. Just squeeze, pull, open. Same thing down there. These things are about 5 pounds each, and they're great. I mean, very sanitary fittings. You don't have to worry about any dead space that you will with the ball valve. I also got the wheels, the casters for this. There's a temperature control. You can see there's your plug-in with the power. And it's got your heater and your pump. Pump's basically going to be what's in my glycol chiller. And that's going to be your cold side, and the heater's obviously the heat. So the heater, right on this part of the Chronicle, there's a pad, orange pad that basically will heat it. You can see where the wire's coming out, right there. So that'll heat the bottom part of the Chronicle. Up here we have, so this right here, this piece is extra. This is just a blow-off cane. Just attach a tube to the end, put that in the bucket of water down here, well, a bucket of sanitizer. And that'll be the blow-off. You can see we have nice clamps. You just put down and push. Pretty tight. The neoprene jacket comes with the Brewmaster Edition. You can see you got a nice silicone O-ring on the bottom of that. Here's the inside. Nice clear etchings all the way up to, I believe the rim is 7 gallons. There's the chiller coil. That's what it looks like inside. So you can see the dip tube right down there at the bottom. You got the sample port and the thermal well. So one of the cool things about this, if you look right here, this piece right here, I'll show you on the other piece. So this is the other lid. This is the lid that comes. This one right here in my hand comes with the Brewmaster Edition. What you would do is you'd put a in half-inch tube here, and you'd run that into your sanitizer bucket. Or for me, I liked the idea of the stainless cane, so that's why I use that. But if you actually look here, this piece has the spring right there. That is a pressure relief valve. I believe what the literature says that I got with the equipment, that this actually is pressurized to 2 psi. So basically, if this clogs or anything clogs there, this will actually relieve the pressure. Cool thing about this is you'll actually be able to do pressurized dry hopping, which is one of the main things that Trillium and Treehouse do to make their Northeast IPAs or New England IPAs the hazy color that they have. So that's pretty cool if you do that. I'll do a video later. I'll actually do a New England IPA with that so you guys can see that. So this one again comes with the Brewmaster Edition. This one is extra. I think it was like $20 or $30. All the TC clamps come with it. They're real simple. You just unscrew this and then this opens up, and that's really all it is. So yeah, this is the Chronicle. We'll do a test run with water in a minute. Let me show you guys the glycol chiller. All right, so this is the glycol chiller. The only thing I don't really like about this, they don't have a covering for the back piece, and I guess that's more for cooling, because this is basically just a gigantic refrigerator motor, and it's got like the refrigerant and everything else. So you can make one of these yourself. I've seen people gut air conditioners or an old fridge. You can just do that, but I went with this. It's pretty pricey. It was $1,000, so if you have the money, it's great, but if not, you can do it yourself. Back here, you'll see. Let me just pull that off. So what's this say? Alright, so that just tells you to wait 24 hours before plugging in. The reason being is when they shipped this, and when I got it, it was actually shipped sideways. When these things are on their side, the refrigerant moves around, and you could actually cause this to erupt if you start it too soon before it settles. So that right there is your temperature control. I haven't plugged it in yet, so I'll do that later on in the video. But that's how you're going to control how cold the glycol actually stays. let me show you what this looks like. Again, another thing I don't like about this lid is not clamped down by anything. It's really just laying there. So I'm not really a huge fan of that, but this is going to be your glycol well. So you're going to put your glycol and distilled water in there. This is the bottom of the lid, and again, you can see it does have a lip, so it's not going to slide off. But if you have kids or anything, or a pet that gets into things, this could easily be moved. It is sturdy metal, which is good, but I would rather this be able to get clamped down. And in here, the way the pump works, this is your FTSS pump. You can see right here. That's the pump. Very small. You can see the size of my hand. It's not very big. And basically what you can do is for every chiller that you want to run, or for every Chronicle, or even if you want to do like your tap lines, you need one of these. So these come from SS Brewtech. They're small. I'm sure you can use an aquarium pump, but you can see the little bit of space you have. I could fit 4 of these in there, but a bigger one I don't think you could. But basically all you're going to do is just set this in here and run the wire right out this little gap, and then you just put this right back on top. And then what will happen is these tubes will connect to the pump right here. That's the outlet. And then the inlet will just suck the glycol from inside. So that's how that works. And then you just will hook it back up to these posts right here. And that's pretty much how it cycles. So let me get this all hooked up and filled, and then we'll do a test run. So what you're going to fill this with, you can see here I have a gallon of 100% propylene glycol. This is just what the SS Brewtech recommends. I'm sure you can get away with like 99.9%, but they do recommend 100%. It is food grade USP, just in case it ever does contact. I guess that's why they want you to use food grade. Then you're just going to mix that with distilled water. That's all that is, just CVS brand distilled water. They tell you want a 1-to-3 ratio of propylene glycol to distilled. So I basically have 1 gallon of propylene glycol and 2 gallons of distilled water. So we're going to just pour those in now. You can see the propylene glycol is a little more viscous than regular water, but it still moves pretty quick. But they do say in the instructions to make sure the coil is completely submerged. So that's why they tell you 3 gallons, I guess, will submerge this. So pour the propylene glycol in first, and then I will pour the distilled water on top. And what I'll do to make sure I get all of this is I'm going to pour some distilled water back into this jug so I can get all the propylene glycol out. I don't know if that'll help or anything, but we'll see. So let me do that now, and I'll resume. Alright, so now we're filled. I will say one thing. With just the 3 gallons I used, it actually, the very, very, very tip of that coil was still exposed. So I had one more, like a half gallon of distilled. So I had a little more in. So just keep that in mind for when you do yours. Now, I'm assuming maintenance on this, you'll probably have to top it off with distilled at some point. I'm assuming it'll probably evaporate, because that is the evaporator coil right there. So I'm assuming at some point you want to put some more distilled in there. It wasn't really clear in the instructions, so we'll see how that goes. But so far this looks about right. The instructions aren't exactly the clearest, so kind of gonna experiment with this and see how it goes. So let's get it on and see how it goes. All right, so I just turned it on. You see the units on it. Currently at 76 degrees. I'd say this isn't too loud. The fan's a little, you definitely hear the fan, but it's about the sound of a refrigerator. So I wouldn't say it's overly loud, but it definitely has a little bit of noise to it. So we'll see. Still at 76. Now I'm curious, because there's a little hole right there. It's a tube that leads down into that reservoir where that copper's out, and I'm not quite there, so I'm not sure if that needs to be filled or not. But we'll give this a minute, see if it cools, and we'll go from there. So let's just wait and see. Alright, so we are about 10 minutes into turning the glycol chiller on. It's down to 65 degrees. Like I said, it's pretty quiet. About the sound of the refrigerator. Nothing really crazy. the initial drop is pretty slow, I'll give you that. So I just filled up my fermenter with, I just went into the bathroom, filled it up with some hot water off the shower. Filled it about six gallons, no leaks or anything, which is good. I did have this valve open, so it took a little longer than expected. So you can see I have the temperature control plugged in. It is pretty bright, I will say that. It's a nice blue, which is pretty cool. I actually like the color a lot. This bracket that it's sitting in is actually new. If you go on their website, it says it's available for pre-order. It's only like $10. I was going to order it anyway, and they added it into the kit, so I don't know if this is something new for the Brewmaster Edition, but it's very convenient, because I've seen some pictures where people have it sitting up here, and that would just not be ideal. So this is pretty cool. You basically just screw it onto the, there's your thermal well. You just basically put it behind the nut for the thermal well, and it just sits there. So that's pretty cool. I'll hide these wires eventually. I just have it in there just for the sake of doing it today. So you can see it's at 106.3. I have not set a temperature yet, which I will do. Once the glycol chiller is set, I still have to run some tubing. One thing I will say is SS Brewtech does not give you the tubing you need. They only give you the parts. They do sell the tubing, but I just went to my local homebrew store and bought it. It's just your basic 3/8 tubing. So again, what I'll do is that's the out, that's the in. I'll hook up the pump. I'll put the tube's already in there. I'll connect this to the nut right there, and then I'll run a tube up, and it'll come right into these right here. 1 and 2. I don't know which one's in or out. I don't think it really matters. I think for the sake of gravity, I'm gonna run the in to this one, and then that's gonna come out and go to that gold piece right there. Doesn't really matter which one. These don't really need to match up, I don't think, because all this is just an inlet, and this is an outlet. So, but I'll do it just for the sake of OCD. I'll hook up that one, that one, that one, that one, and so forth. So we'll see how it goes. So once the glycol chiller gets down to right now it's set at 28 degrees. Once it gets down to there, I'm gonna hook all this up, and then we'll start running a test run to see how it cools the water. Okay, so we are about 35 minutes since I turned the chiller on, and you can see it's upside down, but we're at about 35 degrees. So I'm gonna take this all the way down to 28 where I have it set, just to see how low it goes. It is basically a refrigerator, so it should get pretty low pretty easily. So we'll see how low it goes, and then I'm gonna start this on the fermenter where I have the water at 106.5. And we'll see how it affects the glycol chiller and how quick we can cool this down. I'll do two. I'm going to take one down to fermentation temp, and then I'll do one down to lagering temp, just to take a look to see how it goes. So, in the meantime, enjoying my nice crystal clear Munich Helles that is about 2 months old. This was my first place beer that I brewed over the summer. I won first place in a competition in Philadelphia. It's great beer, so I'm glad it's still holding up. Still tastes pretty good, so cheers. Okay, so the chiller just kicked off at 28 degrees. Let's see what it looks like inside. Let me turn the light on. It's going to be a little hard to see. Okay, so let's look inside. You can see the chiller is pretty much frozen, but it's still liquid in there. So the glycol staying cold. So let's run the pump and see how it goes. You can see the pump is down there. The pump's right there in the chiller. Alright, let me make sure this is shut. Alright, so let's run the pump. So I unplugged it because I didn't want it to kick on. So let's plug this in. And the pump should kick on. Alright, it just kicked on. Now let's watch the temperature, see how quick it climbs down. Now, what should happen here is because there's going to be heat transfer, the temperature should go up inside of the glycol chiller. So this will kick, the compressor should kick back on when that 28 starts to rise up. So let's see. We are already at 104.5. It was just a little higher than that. One thing I'm impressed with is it's been about 50 minutes and this bad boy held temperature pretty good. It was at about, I think it started at 106.1, It only dropped 2 degrees at 100 some degrees, so I can only imagine how well it'll hold at fermentation temperatures. So let's see what this is set at. So right now it's set at 1 degree. Oh wait, no, that's the differential. Alright, let me play with this a little bit, and then I'll resume. Okay. Alright, sorry about that, guys. Should have probably read how to work this first. So right now we're setting at 68 degrees. We'll see how long it takes to get there. We've been going for about 5 minutes, and we're already down to 92. So again, it started at 106, 5 minutes. We already got about a 14 degree drop. So we'll keep an eye on this, see when it gets to 68 what happens, see how cold it actually goes. The compressor did kick on almost within 60 seconds, and it's all the way up to 35, so you can see it definitely transfers the heat, but it should be cooling it as well. So again, we're at 92.8, and we will keep an eye to see how long this takes to get down to 68 degrees. Alright, so while this is chilling, I figured I'd show you guys basically the setup you would need to do a pressurized transfer. So let me grab the other piece that you'll need. So to do a pressurized transfer, basically what you'll need is this piece will have to be on, and because you need the tube. This won't work. So basically I'll switch this out, put this bad boy on, and what will happen is I'll have a tube come out of that and go to this. And basically all this is these two pieces are right now are exactly the same, but I ordered off another website a 5/16 ones of these because you need a 5/16 barb for your CO2. The reason being is this only comes in 1/2 inch. So the problem there is our CO2 tanks don't have line for 1/2 inch. So what you need to do is you need to get one of these, and basically all it is the TC clamp. This is a 1/2 inch barb. Oh, dropped it. Alright, so let's try that again. So again, you'll need 1/2 inch barb, and then this side would be your 5/16 or whatever your CO2 line may be. You don't have to do it this way. You can use your basic threaded barbs, but this is just the sanitary fittings. This is a little more expensive. I believe this piece that I'm holding right here, all 3 of these, is about $20. So you don't have to do it this way for the CO2, but I definitely recommend doing this for the beer line. So basically all you would do is one side would be the CO2 coming from the CO2 tank, and then this would go into this piece right here, and then that's going to be on the top. And again, what basically will happen is your CO2, you don't really have to worry about the pressure, because they say for the pressurized transfer you don't need more than about 1.5 inches. This, or I'm sorry, 1.5 psi, not 1.5 inches. This will basically make sure you don't overpressurize it. This will release some of the pressure at about 2 psi, so you don't have to really worry about going crazy with it. So if your CO2 tank's a little high, it won't really matter. So again, what it'll do is it'll come into the piece up here, and then it will push right out your line right here. So one of the things I plan on doing, and I'll show this in another video, is I want to do complete closed transfers. And what you'll basically do for that is you'll take one of these pieces. So let me open this up real quick. Sorry, let me put the phone down. Alright, so I took that apart. So basically you'll need one of these. This will go right on there. And then I'll clamp it with the clamp. And then that'll come here. And what I'm going to do is I found a barb, one of these barbs that come in 3/8, which is our beer line. So what I'll do is I'll put a 3/8 here, and then I will actually run that directly into the top of the keg, and I'll run it down the beer out tube. And what that is it'll cause a complete closed transfer. So look out for future videos for that, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. But that was one of the main reasons I got this SS Brewtech, is because I do want to be able to do closed transfers to avoid any oxidation. So we'll see what that looks like and go from there. So just a quick update on the temperature. We're probably around 15 minutes now. You can see we're at 71 degrees. It's been going pretty quick. I did have a little hiccup in there, and I actually screwed with the advanced settings on the controller. Basically, if you hold down the set button, you can change things like the delta, which is just how often it'll change, your high, your low, your actual temperature high and low. So I actually screwed with that a little bit and ended up turning the pump off. So we had a little hiccup, but I fixed it. So basically just real simple. If you don't want to mess with the advanced controls, all you do is just push set, and that's what your set temperature's at. If you end up holding down the set button, you end up in your advanced settings. So that's your delta, that's your actual low, your actual high. The P7 is your pump. That's going to tell you, I believe it tells you how long the pump will stay on for, so that way you don't overwork the pump. That's what I actually ended up screwing with, and it screwed me up, so it turned the pump off. I have it set at 0 now. So that's the P7. That is the, I believe that's the high, that's the low. The CA, I'm not sure what that is either, so I'll have to look that up. But this is the high that you'll let your temperature go. I believe it's set at like 200. Yeah, it's at 230 degrees, which will never go that high. And then that's the low, which is minus 58, which again, you'll never go that low. So I might mess with those later, but we're really not worried about that. So we'll go into that maybe another day, but for now, that's basically all you got to really do is just hit the set button once, and that'll pull up your actual. So that's all you really need to do. So when you guys get that, make sure you don't screw up like I did. So let's take a look at the chiller, see what the temperature's at. So we're coming in at 39 degrees. Again, that's upside down. 39 degrees when this was at 106. That's pretty damn good that it hasn't really changed that much. So you can see this is still dropping. I mean, it's dropping at least a decimal of a degree every 10 seconds. So it's looking pretty good. It's almost at 68. So what we'll look for here is when it does get to temperature, that's obviously the pump's going to kick off. We'll give it a minute and see if it keeps dropping. But that was my big concern with this. I want to know if it's going to keep dropping and then the heat pad will kick on. So I was going to bring this down to lagering temperatures, but it's basically going to do the same thing. If you guys want to see that, let me know. I'll post a video. I will end up doing a lager one day, so if you do want to see it, just let me know and I will do that for you guys. But after this, we're going to try to heat it about 5 degrees and see how long it takes to heat 5 degrees. So we'll do that, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so we're coming in at 68. You can see my glare's getting it, but that little bar right there says working. We're going to see how long this pump will actually stay on before it kicks off. I'm assuming it'll actually drop a little bit because the delta is going to take it lower. So basically what it does is going to work just like an air conditioner in your house. It should take it below your set temperature, and then let it warm up gradually, and then it'll kick back on. So that looks like what's happening here. Oh, never mind, there you go. So it shuts off as soon as it gets below 68. So we'll take a look here to see if it does go back up. I'm assuming with this, I mean, this neoprene jacket holds temperature pretty well, as we saw in the beginning. So this may hold temperature pretty good. So we'll there you go. It's actually still dropping. So let's take a look inside. Take the lid off, so you can see the chiller is definitely cold. I would say, I'm sticking my hand in there. It's still pretty cold, and you can, with active work, you're getting some temperature, but temperature's definitely at that 67. There is no more water pumping in. Yeah, that's warm now, so there is no water pumping in. So we'll see what happens here. So it is still dropping. I'm assuming at 67 the heat will probably kick on, so we'll see what that looks like if it does kick on. But let's go from there. Let's put the lid back on and check that out. So again, this, if you are looking to prevent this, that is going to be your delta. And basically what you're doing is you're setting how low and how high before the heat will kick on. So this is going to keep dropping, obviously, and that is why we have the heat pad on. And if you wanted to have less of a lag time in between, you would set your delta differently. So there you go, you can see it is now working again. You can see right there it says working. That should be the heating pad that is inside. Again, the heating pad is down here on the bottom of the conical. You can actually see the edge of it right there. So this heating pad is going to kick on, and we're going to see how long that takes to get back up. But that's basically how it works. It's going to go back and forth. Now, one thing you can do here too is you can actually change the chiller. So you have the same type of temperature setup right here. So as you can see, there's you could change you could set it high, low. If I don't want this to get real cold, I won't set that at 32 degrees. I'll probably set it closer to maybe like 60 degrees, and this won't get as cold. And then that way you don't have to kick the heat on, kick the cold on. So that is a good thing about the Glycol chiller. You can actually control it. In a freezer, you can't do that. I previously used a freezer, and that would happen a lot. So you'll see here, the heat is on. It will start to increase the temperature, and then it'll just keep kicking on back and forth. So what I'll probably do when I actually do finally brew my first beer on here is I'll probably change the Glycol chiller. So, alright, let's just, I'll fill you guys back in on how long this took to get back up to 68, and we'll go from there. Alright, so it's been about 10 minutes, and it's actually been holding at about 67.6, so the heating pad seems to just hold it. I guess if it stays on long enough, it'll definitely bring the temperature up. But the heating pad seems to just be holding the temperature, which is fine with me. It's not very often you're going to really increase the temperature unless you're doing like a diacetyl rest. But looks pretty good so far. So we'll call that good on the test trial. One thing I do want to say. With any type of stainless steel, you want to passivate it. And what that basically means is you're trying to get the steel ready to be able to put acidic wort in it. So basically what you want to do with things like the SS Brewtech Chronicle is you want to put acid solution in it. And for home brewers, the basic thing to use is Star San. So best way to passivate is to do 1 ounce of Star San per gallon. So that holds about 7 gallons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 7 ounces of Star San with 7 gallons of water, about room temperature, nothing really crazy, and let it sit for about a half hour. And what that'll do is it'll just passivate the steel, and SS Brewtech actually recommends you do this at least once a year. So I'll probably do it when I get slow and I'm in between brews and I know I'm not going to brew for a while. I'll probably fill it up with some Star San, just let it sit, and go from there. So another thing they recommend too is to actually prepare the metal. When I was building this yesterday, it smelled a lot like oil. You can tell from when they were drilling the holes and welding and everything else, there's still some of that oil smell. So what I'm going to do today is when I passivate, I'm going to make sure I just do a little light scrub with like just a towel and just rub down all the surfaces of the fittings, of the coil, everything. Just try to get as much of the oil off as I can, and then that way when I brew, it'll be good. So tomorrow I'm actually brewing the Russian Imperial Stout. It's going to be 14% beer, so I'll post that video in a few weeks when I go to barrel transfer it, and we'll see how this bad boy works. So again, if you guys have any questions at all, feel free to ask below. I can post another video, I'll follow it up, I can answer any questions you have. I know there's not a lot of videos out there on the SS Brewtech Chronicle, so I tried to help you guys out with as many questions as I had. This thing, it's great. I haven't used it yet for a beer, but so far it's awesome. I myself was doing glass carboys for the last 3 years, and I used a freezer, and it was great. I did love it, but it was just getting to the point where I was getting tired of having to lug that carboy out of the freezer, and eventually I knew I was going to make a Keezer, so now I have a freezer for a Keezer. So it kind of worked out in the long run. It is pricey. I will say the big differences between the Brewmaster Edition and the regular edition is the butterfly valves, which is they're just awesome. Not only are they just a great practical use, it looks cool. I won't lie. I was just at a brewery last night, and the Chronicle looks just like it. So it is pretty cool to have basically a smaller version of what the pros use. So if you have the money for it, get it. It is pricey. Hopefully, if you guys like it, you get it. If not, no big deal. You can still make great beers without it. You don't have to have this. So like I said, any questions, guys, feel free to ask me. I have no problem answering for you. I'm pretty quick at answering, so if you post, I should answer you within a day. So other than that, happy brewing, and look out for my next video. I'll be posting within a couple weeks with the stout that I'm going to brew. Alright guys, thanks.